This November, the leaders of the two biggest economies in the world will meet. This will be the third time that Xi Jinping and Donald Trump meet, this time in Beijing. At the 19th CPC National Congress, Xi called for people of all countries to work together to build a community of shared future for mankind. This means better, closer and more effective communication with other countries, especially the US. This is Xinhua Special. I'm Roisin Timmins. Since 2013, the presidents of China and the US have met several times. Meetings between China and US leaders are always important events, but not always grand affairs in formal conference rooms. This photo was taken on Xi's first visit to the US as Chinese president. So, Dawei, you took this photo. Can you tell me a little bit about that moment?
I remember it was June 2013. President Xi traveled to California to meet President Obama at the Sunnylands. There were no welcoming ceremonies, no red carpets, no 21-gun salute, and they didn't wear ties. It's quite different from what we normally see in the Great Hall of the People or the White House. It really impressed me. They walked on the grass, talking and smiling. The sky was blue, the light was perfect, and the burger was very beautiful. As they passed, I took the chance to capture the moment.
In the 1970s, ping pong played a significant role in China-US relations. A US ping pong team visited China in 1971. Then, in 1972, Richard Nixon visited China. This signalled the restoration of China-US relations, which had been cut for more than 2 decades. One might say that the globe was set in motion by this tiny ball. Since 1972, the leaders of China and US have had more and more deep yet informal meetings, just like they had at Sunnylands. In fact, Xi and Obama met again the next year, this time at Zhongnanhai, the area of Beijing which houses the country's top leadership.
It was evening, November the 11th, 2014. The meeting went on much longer than scheduled. They talked about almost 5 hours, I think. Usually, talks between two countries stick to bilateral ties and specific matters, but this was quite different. The two leaders had an in-depth exchange on fundamental issues, including managing state affairs.
A year after the exchange at Zhongnanhai, the two leaders met again, this time at the White House. That crucial meeting resulted in a joint presidential statement on climate change and a 49-item outcome list.
I remember it was on September the 24th. The two presidents, President Xi and President Obama, they walked down Pennsylvania Avenue from the White House and talked their way to the Blair House, which was a state guest house of the United States government. And just like at Sunnylands, the two presidents didn't wear ties, and their meeting lasted about 3 hours. During that meeting, President Xi actually told President Obama about China's views on peaceful development as well as on global governance. He also talked about China's stance on sovereignty. Well, he made it abundantly clear that cooperation can bring mutual benefits, but confrontation can only hurt both sides. That kind of in-depth communication, as President Xi puts it, can help guide and invigorate the China-US ties.
This song is Mo Li Hua, or Jasmine Flower. Actually, this ballad is related to another important moment in China-US relations. In April, Trump met with Xi at the Mar-a-Lago resort. Now, Trump must have been aware of the gravity of the occasion as he made his preparations to receive Xi and his wife.
About 30 minutes before President Xi and his wife Peng Liyuan arrived at Mar-a-Lago resort, Trump's family was already in the living room, and Trump was checking the room decorations himself, and he asked the staff to make some adjustments, and he even did some of that himself. Later, Trump's grandchildren sang Jasmine Flower, a traditional Chinese folk song, and recited some Chinese poetries. The Mar-a-Lago meeting was more like a gathering between old friends. President Xi spent altogether 7 hours in 2 days discussing bilateral and global issues and building rapport with President Trump. One of the achievements of the meeting was the establishment of 4 high-level dialogue mechanisms.
China and the US can and must cooperate on many fronts. After all, the relationship between the two countries affects not just the Chinese and the American people, but also the world. This was Xinhua Special. Thank you for watching.